Let me tell you something most sellers don't realize until it's already too late. The biggest mistake sellers make does not happen during the sale. It happens before the home ever hits the market. If you told me you were thinking about selling, this is the first thing I'd want to tell you about. Because once a home goes live, the clock starts ticking. A lot of sellers rush this part. They decide to sell and immediately think the next step is listing. But listing is not the starting point. Preparation is. When sellers skip preparation, they lose leverage before buyers even show up. One of the most common issues is rushing pricing. Sellers look online at estimates, the Zestimate or Realtor.com. They look at what the neighbor sold for. They pick a number that feels right, but pricing without context is risky. Buyers are not looking at your home in isolation. They are comparing it to everything else on the market. If that price does not make sense within comparison, they hesitate, and hesitation is expensive. Another part of this mistake is not understanding their competition. Sellers often think their competition is every home in every city. It's not. Your competition is the handful of homes a buyer would realistically consider instead of yours. If you don't know how you stack up against those options, you're guessing. Presentation is another area sellers underestimate. The first impression window is short, very short. Buyers decide how they feel about a home quickly. Photos, layout, condition, price, all of that forms an opinion before they ever even walk inside. If a home does not make a first strong impression, it is very hard to recover. Price reductions rarely reset perception. They often raise more questions. The first week matters more than most people think. That is when buyer attention is the highest. That is when a listing feels new, and that is when momentum can build. If a home launches without a clear strategy, that window gets wasted. Another mistake sellers make is focusing on what they want instead of how buyers think. Sellers are emotionally connected to their home, but buyers are not. Buyers are thinking about cost, maintenance, lifestyle, ease. If the preparation does not align with buyer reality, the home sits. Preparation creates power. Power to price correctly, power to negotiate, power to stay calm instead of reactive. The sellers who have the smoothest experience are the ones who usually slow down at the beginning. They understand their position. They understand their competition. They understand how buyers will view their home. And because of that, they stay in control throughout the process. The sellers who struggle are often the ones who rush to market without clarity. They react to feedback instead of anticipating it. The takeaway here is simple. Sellers do not lose money on the market. They lose it before they enter the market. The work done before listing determines what happens after. When sellers prepare with intention, everything feels easier. Decisions feel calmer. Negotiations feel cleaner. And that is what smart selling looks like.